Let me see. Just adjusting this a little bit, maybe more like this. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Hello, ladies. Hello, ladies. I'm gonna give it a few seconds for you guys to pile up. But anyway, while you all piling up, let me introduce for you ladies today's topic. And today's topic is, what is a low value woman? I will compare a low value woman to a high value woman. Okay, so I see people are piling up. That's awesome. And I will focus today more on taking responsibility for yourself. And I will share with you some amazing, amazing stories. Okay, so just sticking for the stories, it's worth it. So I'll give you examples of low value behavior, high value behavior, and I'll share some incredible stories. Okay, so basically the difference between a toxic behavior and a healthy behavior, a low value woman to a high value woman, a slave and a queen. Okay, it's all the same thing. Okay, also guys, just for the new ones, my name is Greta Bereisaite. I'm a dating and relationship coach for women only, and I upload videos, new fresh videos with free content every Wednesdays and Sundays. So if you want to learn and become the best version of yourself and be attractive and stay attractive to the opposite sex, subscribe to my channel and watch the content. Okay, so hey girls, hey all, I see everyone's piling up. That's really awesome. So I wanted to start this video with my post, which got a lot of hate. And I saw so many women getting so defensive, and when women get defensive, who do we attack? Me, okay? And you know what made me think? When I make videos on how to set boundaries with guys, when I make videos how to handle their games, you know, all your ladies are usually loving this and you're like, oh my God, yes, Greta, let's blame men. Men are awful, men are this, men are that, right? You're all like man blamers, right? When I make a post, take responsibility for yourself, right? Don't be naive, don't be gullible, don't be silly. Take responsibility for yourself. All of you, like majority, 80-90% go like, no, 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 Greta. It's you, it's your fault. How dare you? We are amazing. Nobody wants to take for responsibility for themselves. Everybody wants to blame others. And this is what actually happened on my post. So I will start this from a post and I will kind of break it down for you ladies, that post and the thoughts that came from that post towards high value, low value behavior. And I will also break it down to you ladies with examples, some real life, incredible, inspiring examples, which will inspire you to be the best version of yourself, to be a queen that you were meant to be in the first place. And that you are, just you need to, you know, adjust it a little bit, improve yourself a little bit. Okay, so, and by the way, ladies, I was not born this way as well. Okay, I have been naive, I have been gullible, I have been victimizing myself a lot in the past. This took a lot of personal growth. Okay, a lot of it, to take responsibility for myself, to put myself first, to love myself, respect myself, all of that. That's a lot of personal growth. That's a lot of personal investment. I was not born this way, and I'm not here to point fingers. All right, I'm here, ladies. Look at yourself, take responsibility for yourself, and make yourself better. So you are happy and other people are like looking and drooling at you as well. So this was the post, my latest post actually. It's gonna have like this post, right? So I'm saying, ladies, naive, gullible women with no self-love will always be used and abused. A Prince Charming will not come to a weak, silly woman. No king will date a weak woman. A king looks for a strong queen who can handle the empire with him. And I got so much hate on this. Oh my goodness, like it was just full on, right? Now, ladies, ladies, let's look at the toxic behavior now, right? What is a toxic behavior? A toxic behavior when a guy is abusing you, right? An abuser, a bully, that person is acting toxic, right? That's a toxic man, that's a toxic behavior. A toxic behavior is also victimizing yourself. A toxic behavior is being negative, is criticizing, it's blaming others, is a form of a toxic behavior. Blaming a guy and not taking responsibility for yourself, it's a form of a toxic behavior. Victimizing yourself while you are being abused, it's a form of a toxic behavior. If you have an abuser who's behaving toxic, you have a victim who's also behaving toxic. So these two match. Why? Because there's abuser and there's a victim. We are both toxic. Because if a victim was not toxic, it would take responsibility for itself, it would do the right thing, and it would leave the situation. Abuser can never abuse somebody who does not put themselves in a victim position. If you're not gonna let a man walk all over you or disrespect you, it's impossible for him to disrespect you and walk all over you, because you're just not gonna be there. You're not gonna date a guy who is gonna do things like that, because you will know your own value, your own worth, and you will do the right thing. Even if you love him, you will still do the right thing. And so many girls were like getting so offended, and they were like, well, you know, like if a man doesn't want a weak woman, I don't need that man, or like, you know, whatever. Or we were saying, what do they say, where is your king, blah blah blah, all of that stuff, right? Hold on, ladies, I had a point, I lost it. It happens on a live. So a lot, yes. So nowadays, what women do a lot, we like, you know, a lot of women said, put themselves straight away, we are weak, naive, and gullible, right? They straight away put themselves as weak, naive, and gullible, and they attacked, let's say, me back, right? I did not call you girls weak, naive, and gullible. You called yourself weak, naive, and gullible. I said a queen will not make herself, will not be naive and gullible. I did not say you are weak, naive, and gullible. You were once, you called yourself weak, naive, and gullible. Why? Why? I personally would never call myself weak, naive, and gullible. I would take responsibility for myself and I would do the right thing. I would be like, I'm not weak. I don't want to be weak. I'm not naive. I'm not gonna be weak. I'm not naive, you know. Why are you calling yourself that? You are capable of being strong. You are capable of taking responsibility for yourself. Let me, ladies, give you now some examples so it kind of makes sense and it doesn't look like it's blaming and so on, right? So I will start from kind of far away, okay? Far back. So let me go far. Right, so for example, I had a grandma who went through a war. All my grandparents went through a war, right? And this is what my grandma went through. She saw a body of her brother in front of her, dead, and she had to pretend that she does not know that it's her brother. Otherwise, she would have been killed by soldiers, right? And I find out about this when I was already, you know, much older. She has never shared a war. She has never shared what she experienced. All my life as a child, I saw her a very, very strong woman, right? She has never put herself in a victim position. She could have, all my grandparents could have, they all could have been like, oh my goodness, I went through a war, I have so much, like toxic behavior, I've been so abused, this and that. But if they would have put themselves in the toxic position, in the victimizing position, they would have never been able to go forward and live their life. So what she did, she put the war behind and she raised the children in the best way that she could, right? She did not let the abuse continue. Now, let me share some more. My mom was born in, I would say, in a very toxic environment. My granddad was cheating all the time. My grandma kept put up with the abuse. My mom, when she was 16, she left the family. She loves, she was in touch and all of that, but she left the house because there was a lot of abuse. And she was training very hard in basketball, and she became European champion. So she came from a very toxic upbringing, and she put herself first, and she became European champion, right? She's really well known. And what did she do? She took responsibility for her life. She had all the rights to go like, I came from this upbringing. This is what my mom did. My grandma was abused all the time. She could have married a husband who was abusive and so on. She did not do that. She took responsibility for herself, and she created an incredible life for her, right? My dad, then my dad's dad passed away when my dad was 20, and my dad was left with his mom and his two siblings. He started going to a job in the, I think, metal factory to bring money to support the family. He started studying and he became a famous rower as well. So he was rowing, studying, and going to work to support the rest of the family. If he would have been victimizing himself and saying, I am weak, I am gullible, I am naive, do you think he would be able to support his brothers and sisters, support his mom, and become the man that he is today? No, he would have not. You see, ladies, my point is, stop putting yourself in, I am a weak and naive and I am a fragile woman and it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault. Take responsibility for yourself. Put yourself first and do the right thing. You're not a naive, vulnerable, fragile woman. You are that woman because you want to be that woman, because that way it's easy. You can blame others, you can point fingers, and you can sit comfortably in the comfort zone going like, oh, he did this, he did this, he did that, how dare, how dare, how dare. What instead of that, you go like, fuck it all, right? I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna put myself first. I'm gonna become the best version of myself. I'm gonna be a queen, and you all just watch me doing that, right? This is what's inspiring. This is what motivates others. This is what makes the world a better place. If we inspire each other to be the best version of ourselves, right? If we inspire each other to be positive, to take responsibility for ourselves, well, we will actually make the world a better place. We will lift each other up. But when you ladies, when you victimize yourself, when you complain, when you point fingers, you're actually spreading a toxic behavior. You go to your friend is complaining, you're like, yes, don't take any responsibility for yourself. It's his fault or it's her fault. You're spreading negativity and you're making each other weak. You are not weak. Our grandparents were not fighting wars for you to be weak and sit in a comfort zone all comfortably and blame others. This is not what the grandparents or our parents stood up for. They stood up, we went against the law for women to have rights, for you girls to be queens, for us to be inspiring women, for us to be able to achieve things, to do things in our life. You only have one life. You're lucky to be born. You're lucky to be alive. Why sit there, victimize yourself, and go like, I am a naive, weak woman, and I don't have a man, and nobody wants me? Fuck it. Go for your dreams. Go for your goals. Be a queen. This is when everyone will see you as this inspiring person. Ladies, you know, when my dad, all my life, I seen my dad introducing my mom as European champion to everyone because he's so proud of that. He's so proud to be married to a queen who has achieved so much. He's always been like, yeah, that was her background. This is what she did. This is so inspiring. This is my wife. My mom, all her life, she's introducing my dad like, yes, he was a rower. He was called a mountain in his team because my dad was like really tough, you know, like even like the other rowers called him a mountain. That's how strong he was. They are proud of each other. You know, like attracts like. Why would you not want to be that? Why would you want to waste your life? You only have one life. Do something. If people who come from nothing, who came from abusive upbringing, who came from a war, have dreams, have goals, have a passion to do something with their life, why can't you? You know, what's your excuse? Okay, now once we have this done, I literally thought it's gonna take me an hour. It took me 10 minutes, right? So let's see what else I wrote down that I didn't share yet. I think I said everything. Shall we do the questions? Shall we do the questions? Okay, ladies, so fire up with your questions. Yeah, that was fast. Ask me your questions and I answer your questions. Let's do the Q&A. So this is a bit of inspiring live. I was like, this is gonna take me an hour. No, it took me probably 10 minutes. Okay, cool. So, any advice for married women going through separation? Focus on yourself, focus on your dreams, focus, see the light at the end of the tunnel, focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. Ladies, my sister passed away. I don't know, do you girls know my story or not? But I created this business on a rock bottom. I really did, on a rock bottom. My sister was dying from cancer. Everything around my life was crashing. And what I focused was on the light at the end of the tunnel. And the light at the end of the tunnel was this. This is why you see how much I love what I do. You know, even if you're gonna go like many videos back, you will see, you know, like I'm quite shy and this and starting filming these videos. It took me a long time to get to where I am, and I got here because of my passion. So what happened was, if you actually look at my story, I was living in, sharing a house. I was living with, oh my God, I have actually a video on that. If you want to see where I lived before and who I lived with, I'll put it here in a link after this video. But my point is, I created my business on my rock bottom. Okay, I was like, I know this stuff, I can do it. I got my best friend's sister married. Like, he was taking her totally for granted. When like she showed me the ring, I was doing the video the next day because I literally held her hand through the whole thing. So she went from low value to high value and all of that. And so then she showed me the ring. This is when I did my first YouTube video. And like, if you want to hear my story, I think I only have my story in my ultimate self-love package, because I'm breaking it down for you ladies, how I went through the whole thing, what I did, how I went through the rock bottom, what kept me going, and how I became who I am. So my point is, when you girls are going through separation or through a breakup, if you loved the guy, you're probably crushed and stuff like that. So find something that you really love to do, something that you really, really, really love to do. And when you do that thing, you forget about everything else. And that thing makes you feel good. right? So for me, it was this business, it was giving the advice, it was holding girls' hands and coaching them, it was focusing on creating, building my empire. So what happened to me, everything around me was crashing, everything. My sister's dying from cancer, she did pass away. My parents, going really down, because obviously, like my sister passed away, me not having any money, I was working as a nanny. I started putting myself first. I realized that I surrounded myself with low value people, so I ended up letting them go because I was growing. Not that we were low value people, it's just I was growing and they were staying here, and we started like clashing. And I was by myself as a finger in the rock bottom. And what helped me was creating this business, because I saw it as a light. It made me happy. So what I did through the whole day, I focused on this light, right? I focused on it. And when you focus on the light, you focus on what makes you happy, not on negativity, because when you focus on negativity, you get more sad, right? What happens next? You feel weak. Listen, you feel weak, you start blaming others, you start complaining, right? You get in a bad mood. That's what happens when you focus on negativity. Then you find that light and it makes you happy, and you focus on positivity, and when there is negativity around you, go and focus on your light. Somebody said something, focus on your light, focus on your light. When you focus on positivity, it gets bigger and it spreads, right? It gets bigger, 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 bigger. So this is what I call my empire, this business, right? I focused, it was tiny. I focused and it got bigger, bigger, bigger. Now I live in this positivity. This is my life, girls, right? I love this. So again, ladies, when you're going through hard time, find something that makes you really happy and makes you forget about everything else and focus on it. Focus on it. Put all your focus on positivity, so the positivity spreads, not the negativity, but positivity. How should I get a confidence back when I have a few surgeries due to domestic violence? If I find a man, I would have to explain I have been single for 16 years. If you will love yourself, if you learn how to love yourself, if you learn how to be high value, let's say, after a while, like when a guy will meet you and you love yourself and this and this and that, after a while, when you get to know the guy, right, when you really get to know and you can trust that person, you can open up. Where are these things coming from? But like, you're not gonna be feeling vulnerable about opening it up, because you're gonna be strong. You're not gonna be, let's say, embarrassed over it or anything like that, because it's not gonna be you anymore. The only time we feel embarrassed about our failures, if we still feel like that person, right? Like, for example, if I share my failures with you guys, I laugh at them because I'm not that person anymore. So it's easy for me to share it, because I'm like, well, that's not me anymore. You can all laugh at what it was, because like, I'll laugh with you probably, because that's not me anymore. But when it's still you, right? When it's still you and you open your failures or something that you feel insecure about, and people pick on it, right? When it really hurts you, because it's still you. You see? So work on your insecurities, become strong, and then whatever anyone says, it's not gonna affect you. That was easy to say, right? It takes a lot of work, ladies. It does take a lot of work. Like it takes a lot of work, but it's the beauty of life. There is a very good example, I probably shared it before, and it's for personal development and for relationships, for anything in life. And the stories that I shared as well, you can apply it for anything in life, for business, for just everything, right? It's like tools to live a happy life. This is what I'm providing for you. And my client gave a very good example. and she said, relationship, business, love, anything, right? When things are comfortable, right, and the same, let's say, let's look at the water, right? So then you have a pond, and a pond is still, right? After a while, it gets moldy, it gets disgusting, and after a while, even if you're gonna go in it, you're gonna start sinking, right? It gets so moldy. So everything in life needs to move, it needs to grow. You cannot stay in the same place, right? So when you will, ladies, invest in your personal growth, invest in yourself, to your core self, not about just like what games guys play and stuff like that, and how to, have him all wrapped up, but truly invest in yourself and grow as a person. This is when you'll actually feel happy, because it's not up to a guy to make us happy. It's up to us to make ourselves happy. It's like we've been conditioned that it's a man, a guy, a man, all of that. But it's just conditioning from young age. It's our responsibility to grow and to make ourselves happy. And the only way you will be happy, if you face your fears and grow. Nothing good happens in a comfort zone. Relationship does not grow in a comfort zone. A pond, it's like a pond, it gets nasty. Okay, question, dot, need a dot. We all kind of just, the screen just went blank to see hi. Because I can't, like, if I need to see yes, here we go. Modern dating scene, apps only, and one night stands. Ignore it, just ignore it. The right guy will come. Like, a guy will take what's on a plate. He'll take off what's on a plate and he will manipulate it. That's what it is. This is, what the games are good for? Knowledge. Like, what's the best way to control your emotions is through knowledge. We lose our emotional control because we don't understand. We assume, and in many cases, to protect ourselves, we assume the worst. Okay, so when you assume the worst, like he did something and you don't understand, right? He's doing something and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? And you don't understand what it is exactly, or you don't know. And when you assume the worst, you lose your emotional control based on paranoia, right? So this is why the guy ends up calling you crazy, because you lose your emotional control based on paranoia, right? But when you know the games, when you know all of it, this is when you when you have the knowledge and when you can read the other person, there is no reason for you to assume the worst, because there is no assumptions. You can read the person, so that is how it is. And wait, what was I talking today? Yes, this is what happens a lot with the girls. It's when you have the knowledge how everything goes in the relationship and in life, you don't live in a fantasy, you don't live in a fairy tale. What happens to a lot of naive women is that we live in a fantasy, we live in a fairy tale. They're not even dating the real person, we are dating their bullshit. So we end up wasting 5, 6, 7 years dating a guy who goes a lot of blah, 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 whose words don't match up with his actions, but the girl goes like, oh, maybe next time, excuses, this and that, right? We give them excuses, and then we waste 5 years, 7 years with that guy, sometimes even 10 years with a fantasy. It's not even the real person, we wasted with a fantasy. What high value does, what the advice that you're hearing does, it takes off all the fantasy from the person, because you have the knowledge, you can see right through them, and then you know exactly who you are dating. We cannot put like a shield, you know, there is no glass, there is nothing. You see it, you see right through them. And when you see right through them, and you're like, okay, I've been on one date, it went like this. I can see second date like this, third date. Is that good enough for me? Right? Because you see the real person. When you understand all of this, you're like, you see the real person. And ladies, the real person is not as nice as the fantasy, trust me. Unless it's like a guy who never bullshits and who just shows everything with his actions, which there are actually guys like that. It's really interesting because there are guys like that. And but you know, a lot of times what women do, they invest into a fantasy. The guy is just charming, he gives you flattery promises, first date flattery promises, second date flattery promises. When you already slept with him, you're all invested. What he gives you more flattery and promises. All of, like, it's lack of knowledge. That's all there is. It's lack of knowledge and falling for the fluff. Don't disappear. Okay, let's see. Love you too. I think you pushing women to be strong. I'm disgusted from the phrase strong woman, and I associate with muscles and mustache. That's why men are feminized nowadays. Okay, let's rephrase that. I don't like the phrase a strong woman either, right? I don't, you know, if I'm really honest, like, I don't like the phrase a strong woman, okay? I like the phrase a feminine woman, right? Like, when I meet guys, everyone calls me very, very feminine. Like, all my life before I became a dating coach, I was called extremely sensitive, very emotional, and very feminine, right? Right? Like, this was me. I was ultra sensitive. That was like, everybody were thinking like, Greta will never reach anything in life because she's so sensitive, right? Like, the most, like, was always the most feminine one, right? And you can't be feminine. It's good for you to be feminine. You are here to complement each other, but you need to be strong, ladies. You need to be strong as well. You don't need to be aggressive. I'm not aggressive. You don't need to be, you know, like, you just need to be strong. Don't be naive, don't be gullible. Like, naive and gullible, that's not, like, if you stay naive and gullible, that's not even weak, that's stupid. Like, a man does not, like, he's not gonna like a stupid woman. He will disrespect that. That is what naive and gullible is. What I'm telling you, ladies, just have the knowledge. You know, all you need is the knowledge. Be feminine and have the knowledge. Have the knowledge how to do the right thing. Okay? For example, like financial control. You don't need to be strong to be, you know, like, I don't know, to have money. You just need to have the knowledge. Women are smart. We are not dumber than guys. You can have the knowledge and you can do things in a feminine way and achieve your feminine empire. Is my empire here masculine empire? Look at this, ladies. Like, I'm like example of building a feminine empire. All I do all day is talk to women. I don't, like, you know, like, I don't have any guys working for me. I like the feminine environment. You know, like, it's beautiful. This is the beauty of life. You can be a feminine woman and you can achieve your feminine goals. If your goal is have a hobby knitting, right? If your goal is to knit, you can knit and make it into your hobby, make it into your empire, make it into your goal. If your goal is to bake beautiful cakes, be feminine, make it into a goal. There's a million of feminine things that you can do and make it into your empire. You don't need to become a man. Like, that's the last thing that you need to do. You know, it's about complementing each other in their relationships. But ladies, another thing that is really important, and I think we should not be dumb and we need to be smart, and I'm gonna share another example, which I actually nearly forgot. Um, it was shared by a guy who is right now, he's got like, he earns like 10 millions a year, but this is his story. So he has a couple brothers and sisters. He had a mom, he had a dad. His dad was a drug dealer, a pretty famous drug dealer in LA. And when police, they basically put him into jail, right? And he was pretty famous. He was, like, we all had like lots of money, right? He grew up in a very, very wealthy upbringing. And so the mom was looked after, the kids were looked after, and obviously the dad, we all had like a very rich background, wealthy background, because of the dad being the drug dealer. And when police took him away, we lost the house and everything within a year. He said, we lost everything within 1 year, right? And his brothers and sisters and his mom moved into a share house, and we all shared one room. And the mom like was working, going to work as much as she can to provide for the kids. Now, my point is, ladies, be a plan B. Like, I understand, yes, let's say a man is the provider, maybe he should be the head of the house, but be a plan B. Build the empire together. You never know what's gonna happen. This is life, it's teamwork. What if he gets sick? My dad got sick. There was a time when he got sick for a couple of years because he had heart surgeries. He couldn't get out of bed. Who do you think was providing for the family? My mom was. If she would have not provided, we all would have been on the street. It's life. Life is not easy. Life is not easy. It's you have to have a plan B in life. You have to have the financial knowledge. You have these opportunities now to do this. We are not restricted as women anymore. We can have this. We can build it. Look at Michelle Obama. Look at Oprah. These are incredible women examples. What are you gonna do? Like, if you're always depending on a man, he will look at you as a baggage. He will look at you as another child. What happens if something happens to him, right? How are you gonna feed your children? How are you gonna dress your children? It doesn't, it's sad. Another example that I have, actually, I have lots of examples. There was one lady that I coached, not one, like many ladies, but from that, anyway, let's call it, there were a couple ladies, just so, anyway. So, and she, basically, this is what happened. She was in an abusive marriage, in a very abusive marriage, right? She had children. She was in a very abusive marriage. The children were begging her to leave her husband, right? And it got so abusive, the police got involved. She was raped, and it was disgusting, right? And she left the husband, right? She left the husband. She was very naive. She was very gullible. He was manipulating her all the time. She left the husband, and he begged her back, right? When she left him, and she went back to him, right? She went back to him. Do you think her children, when she's a grown-up woman, do you think her children respect her for that? How do you think her children are like being with her now? The husband was not abusing just her, the husband was abusing the children too. They're like, Mom, you going back to dad because now he says he loves you. So you're being selfish, and you're being naive and gullible, and you're going back into the mouth of a gorilla who's gonna eat you alive and is gonna abuse the children again. So which woman do you think, you know what I mean? And it's not, does it make sense, ladies? Like, what do you say to that? Yes, you can give excuses, oh, it's love, but what about the children? It's not just about you. What about the kids? We are suffering. Now you're going there because you're going for the love, because you're actually selfish and you need some cuddles and attention and all of that. This is why you're going there. So you're actually ignoring your kids. You're ignoring their health. You're ignoring their well-being. So how is this woman going to be respected? This woman will be respected if she leaves the husband and she puts herself first and she starts looking after her children, because this is abuse. This guy is not just danger to her, it's a danger to her kids as well. But no, this woman instead chooses to be gullible and naive and follow the love who's gonna abuse her and abuse her children. So you ladies making posts on, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you have to be smart. You have to be strong in here, right? I don't tell you girls to go to the gym and do boxing or fight men or anything like that. I would never lift a finger against a guy myself. I'm not that type of woman. You know, like you're watching the wrong coach if you think I'm gonna be coaching you how to be aggressive. I am not aggressive in person. Like nobody would ever in my life would call me aggressive. So, but you can set in your boundaries in a feminine, womanly way if that's who you are. You can say no. You can say, like, please don't talk to me this way. Okay, he's getting aggressive. Okay, I see that. I'm gonna leave now and I'm not gonna be there anymore. I'm not telling you to fight or take his head off or punch. You know, like that's actually quite dangerous, punching a guy. You know, if he punches you back, you'll fly off probably across the room, right? I'm telling you to remove yourself from that situation. How is that aggressive? That's not aggressive. That's being feminine. That's knowing your value and worth. And when you know your value and worth, this is when you go and reach your goals, because you're like, wow, I am something. I am unique. I am incredible. I was born. I bet I can make this world a better place. Unless you're Lily, yeah. I feel good. What he's thinking, you are the prize. He should be okay. So you girls are helping each other out. Here you go. Is that being, ladies? These ladies, right, are helping each other out, right? Like with the comments. Is that being strong and masculine, or that just being feminine and helping each other out? Same thing. Same thing. Is that masculinity? No, it's not. You can do something. Should we go underground working on our insecurities before going out or meeting people professionally? I'm not where I want to be and people are noisy and asking. Hiding makes me feel fake though. I would keep it to myself. Keep your insecurities to myself, because there's a lot of manipulative people out there who play games and who will play games on your insecurities. And it's not just men who do that. A lot of times we assume of others of who we are. Like, for example, if you're a nice person, you will automatically assume that the other people are nice as well. If you're a manipulative person, you will automatically assume that other people manipulate a lot as well. So if you are, if you have a lot of insecurities and you share it with the wrong person, you might as well, you're potentially digging yourself a hole. There is no like, if you want to talk and share it, I understand that we as women, we need to talk. I talk, when I feel bad, the first thing I need to do is go and share, because I need to talk to somebody to lay it out, because it will make me feel better, right? As I say, I'm a woman, right? So I understand that. But when you need to have your safe person that you can talk to, for me, the safest person would be my mom. Like everyone else, like, yes, of course I have some safe people, but you know what I mean? It's like, if you want to share your insecurities, share it with somebody who's really, really safe. Don't share it in your like work environment where you don't know people. That is very risky. The only time a woman has to be strong is let man who can invest in her go. That's not the only time, hon. The only time a woman has to be strong is let the man who can't invest in her go. If that's the only time, well, if that's the only time that a woman needs to be strong is let a man who can't invest in her go, then like none of the guys will come for that woman. She's always weak and naive and gullible. She will never attract a man who will invest in her in the first place. Like a man does not look for a baggage or a child to look after. A man is looking for an equal. Like, ladies, if you want to have a happy relationship, you need to be an equal to him. If you're gonna be here and he is here, he will walk all over you. If you're gonna be here and he is here, you're not gonna respect him. You need an equal. That's how it works. And again, like attracts like. You know, like what I see as a king, you may not see as a king, right? Like everybody's different. Everybody has a different idea for a king or a queen. You don't need to be me. You can be you. You need to be who you meant to be in order to attract the right king for you. Like attracts like, right? It is important to focus on being queen, but that decision itself won't bring you there. It is inner work, yes. Releasing childhood trauma which brought you to low value woman in the first place. It's working on it. It's working on it. Yes, it's everybody has childhood trauma. Like ladies, you know, I say low value woman or I say toxic people, but majority of us came from a toxic environment. You know, this is like when you think about it, again, going back to the grandparents or parents, if my grandparents seen a war, right? They've been in a war. What type of people do you think we were? They were toxic people. Why? They went through a war. What is war about? If you want to survive a war, right, you need to know the games, you need to know the manipulation, you need to, you know, like you need to know the stuff, otherwise you're not going to be able to survive a war. Like my grandma was hiding a Jewish person at that time in a basement. She could have been killed. Her whole family could have been killed. In order to do that, you need to be, it doesn't necessarily make you a nice person. You need to be a manipulative game player person in order to do that, right? You need to manipulate the soldiers. You need to learn how to lie, right? This is what the grandparents for many of us went through. Now, if this is what our grandparents know the best, what do you think they taught to their children? To my parents, then they taught what we know the best, how to manipulate, how to play games, how to be dodgy, right? This is how you're gonna get away with this stuff, and this is how you can do this, and this is, let me give you the secret, and the secret, right? So what do you think my parents taught me? They were not, my parents were not born into war. My parents were like, you know, born after war, and they were obviously trying to make me a good person, but they still gave me some toxicity, right? Like the toxicity is still there. So I was, you know, I knew how to victimize myself pretty well. You know, I knew how to do this, I knew how to do that. This is how it is. So what you do now, like we all, what I'm saying, majority of us came from a toxic upbringing, and it's normal. It's actually normal. Like over 80% of us came from a toxic upbringing. But what do we do with this toxicity? We can take it to our children, or we can change that. And now when you think about it, like I don't have a war to fight. I don't have like this to do or that to do. So I might as well take that toxicity that someone gave me and make it the right thing and do the right thing and maybe achieve my goals instead, right? Instead of blaming, oh, this is that person, this is, like, we all bloody came, like majority of us. Countries, unless it's a country that lived I don't know, maybe some kind of island in Atlantic, I don't know, in some kind of ocean or somewhere, you know, like was never affected, and we still like all positive, happy people. We just like pray and are happy and, you know, hum and all of that. So maybe we should move to that island. That's where high value people live. I had rather be a princess than a queen. A princess gets treated and the queen has to look after the king. Okay. Princess queens, jeez. Okay. I am in my 30s but look 25, so that's good. Congratulations. The belief that women aren't valuable when we hit their 30s. Oh my god, this is the most ridiculous thing. And I actually had this, I was talking to this girl recently. She was complaining to me because actually one guy, this is what he does. So my friend, she's 36, and one guy sends her a video. So he's pursuing her, right? And he sends her a video of the people who created this video that women are not valuable at the after age of 30. So he's pursuing her and he sends her that video. She blocked him everywhere. And then he begged her to unblock him. But this is a very dumb strategy that actually guys do. They like, oh, you're 36 and I'm pursuing you. You should feel lucky because this is how women are after 30, right? So it's just it's ridiculous. Anyway, I actually have a video on this. Do women lose their value after 30? And no, we don't. How can you lose your value when you're growing? It does not make sense, ladies. Think about it. How can you lose your value when you're growing? Like, this does not make sense. When you buy a house, when you like in the beginning, when there is a house, there is the you know, there is the beginning of, I don't know what it's called, like the bloody beginning of the house. When you build it, you build it. After 30 years, the house has a lot of value. It's not just the beginning, right? It's like, it's pretty, it's nice. Maybe you invested, maybe you're making money out of it. The same goes with a woman. Like after the age of 30, if you invested in your personal growth, if you invested in yourself, if you invested in your empire. Ladies, if I look at myself at 25 and if I look at myself right now, you can't compare the two. Like how much value I have now and how much value I had then, you can't compare. It's like this comparison. Sorry, like I would go like this, but it's not gonna fit into a screen. So how does this make sense? It does not make sense. It's like guys who buy pretty things and spend the money on pretty things. These are the guys who, you know, talk about this stuff. Guys who know about investment, men who know about growth, who know about personal development. This will never come out from their mouth. Guys who want to manipulate women and who want to use them and keep them low value because that's how you can use them and walk all over them and take the cookie. These are the guys who will, you know, spread this bullshit. It's BS. It's ridiculous. It's actually something to laugh at. It's funny. Like I would laugh at it. This is funny. It's ridiculous. Okay, ladies, I'm gonna go. So, because I've been already 53 minutes. So if you like this video, please like it. Let me know in the comments below. I have a surprise for you for next week. I have a couple of surprises, actually, really amazing surprises. One for my Instagram, so make sure to follow me on my Instagram. So there is a massive surprise coming to you all, but it's a secret and it's coming very soon, probably maybe on Monday, tomorrow or Tuesday on my Instagram. And if you'll follow me, you will all get to share that surprise. And the other surprise is coming soon as well. I'm very, very excited with that. It's gonna come for the YouTube channel. So super excited with that, but I can't tell you. So you'll see it for yourself. Actions speak louder than words, hey? So thank you so much, ladies. Like it if you liked it, share it with the ladies who need it. And if you want to join my ultimate self-love or want to know my story, how I have all done it, like how I was focusing on this light and everything was a rock bottom. And if you're going through a similar thing, I'll tell you exactly how I did it and what I did. So you can get that course in this video description. Yeah, okay, and have a beautiful day. Kisses.